What if the shadow watching you doesn't blink because it doesn't need to? Imagine a city at dusk, streetlights buzzing like trapped flies, and across the road, a figure in a window, staring, just staring. Mara felt it first, that cold prickle, the weight of eyes that didn't waver. She told herself it was her imagination, a trick of the light. But what if it wasn't? What if it was waiting for her to look back? In Bucharest, where old stones whispered under a gray sky, Mara and Ethan arrived with dreams of a new chapter. He'd scored a job, a lifeline after years of scraping by. Their apartment was a husk. Peeling walls, towering windows, a view of a street that seemed to hum with secrets. Mara would stand by the glass, gazing out, and that's when she saw it. Across the way, in a dim tenement, a figure, tall, still, always there. At first, it was just a shape in the dark. Night after night, it stood, a statue carved from shadow. She'd close her eyes, count to 10. It didn't move. She'd turn away, and the itch of its stare would burrow deeper. Ethan shrugged it off. "You're tired, Mara. It's just some creep." But his voice tightened when the news broke. A killer loose in the city, the Spider, stalking women, leaving them bled out in the alleys. The city turned restless. Sirens wove through the air like threads of panic. Mara stopped sleeping, her nights spent watching the Watcher. She hung thick curtains, but by dawn they'd be parted, as if brushed aside by a draft she couldn't feel. One night she jolted awake to a sound, scritch-scratch, like claws on the pane. Her breath hitched. The curtains lay crumpled, the window bare, and there it was, closer now, its head tilted, a glint where a face should be. Weeks dragged on. Ethan's late shifts left her alone with the darkening rooms. She'd pace the streets, craving escape, but the sensation followed. A tether, like something had latched onto her. In a market, she glimpsed it. A man, pale and wiry, eyes too still, shadowing her through the crowd. She bolted, pulse hammering, but he vanished. That night, the figure was nearer, 3rd floor, not 4th, its silhouette sharper, limbs stretched too long. The air grew heavy, a stench seeped in, damp rot, faint, then choking. Mara found marks on the window frame, faint scratches at first, then gouges, as if something tested the barrier. She stopped leaving the apartment. The phone rang once. Silence, then a wet, guttural rasp that lingered in her ears. Ethan saw her unraveling, the way she flinched at nothing. "We'll leave soon," he swore. But soon wasn't now, and now was all she had. One night, alone, she heard it. Footsteps, slow and wet, outside the door. Her heart thundered. Knife in hand, she crept to the peephole. Empty hall, lights flickering. Then a shadow slid by, too tall, too twisted. She locked the bolt, retreated, and froze. The window. She hadn't checked the window. Turning, she saw it. Not across the street, but there, pressed against the glass. No face, just a blank, glistening stretch of skin, pale as spoiled milk, pulled tight over a skull too thin. Its head cocked, listening, as if it tasted her fear through the wall. The glass groaned, cracks spidering outward. She screamed, the knife clattering free, and lunged for the door. Too late. The window burst inward, a rain of shards, and it slithered through, limbs bending wrong, a thing of flesh and nightmare. The smell drowned her, rot, alive and ancient, a hunger unburied. She stumbled into the hall, down the stairs, feet slapping stone. The street lay silent, the city holding its breath. Behind her, a slick shuffle. Nearer. She darted into an alley, lungs burning, and flattened against the wall. Quiet. Then, a gurgle, low and deliberate, from above. She looked up. It clung to the bricks, upside down, head swiveling, that faceless mask finding her. Her cry choked off as it dropped, limbs splaying, and snatched her into the dark. Ethan returned at dawn to an empty apartment, curtains torn, window gaping, a smear of blood on the edge. The police called it a vanishing, tied it to the spider, but found no trace. He fled the city, haunted by the stillness, by the way the streets seemed to stare. Months later, unpacking in a new life, he found a photo slipped into his bag, one he didn't take. Mara, smiling at their old window. Behind her, a shape, faceless and tall, pressed to the glass. But the horror didn't end there. Something worse festers in those streets. Something that doesn't die.